Yeah, I'm just not going to do Christmas around here. I'm still trying to figure out a way to go home for at least a day or so to see my
Yeah,
mom.
you need
and
to
dad.
see your mom.
Yeah,
And your dad and your dad too, and Cy too.
you
But
know,
really,
kind of Maury is the
yeah.
big deal. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get home for Christmas. My life is starting to turn into one of those Hallmark movies I watch every day. You know, I watch these stupid Hallmark movies every day where someone has to go home for Christmas. You know what I'm talking about?
Please, please, please do yourself a favor and
Mm-hmm.
watch a Hallmark movie called A Very Charming Christmas Town. It is set in Solvang, the town that I live in, and it is the most ridiculous of
No, they're
movies.
all ridiculous. All right, what's it called?
A Very Charming Christmas Town. You can get it on the on-demand for free.
I watch them all for free.
Yeah, you're not paying for that. I love that you're home alone and drinking a scotch and watching a Hallmark movie
Every night.
Do we need to Zoom in the evenings to make sure you're okay?
And at some point, they're going to find me in a warm bathtub with slits in my wrist. And
I know. It's just I don't mean to make light of it because what you guys are going through is actually super serious. But I
have to laugh about it. This
you have to.
I got to be honest with you. I was just working out, right?
Yeah.
I know that sounds douchey. I was just working out, but anyway, I was getting my workout in, and I have this kind of slight depression over me because of everything that's going on, and I want everything to be okay, but okay means that it's not going to be okay, and I care deeply, but you go through days and days and days of just being like, just flatlining in life, and it's a time of year where you're supposed to be happy.
Right.
You see family and friends. That's what Christmas is to me, is I get to see family and friends and the whole thing and be happy. I've never been about the gifts or anything. And I don't like giving gifts or getting gifts. I really don't.
Right.
I prefer giving than getting. I hate when I get a gift.
Remember, we went through the love language thing.
Yeah. By the way, Anna, speaking of gifts, I need the barbecue. Can I get just a barbecue? Because I went on your site. You got to order all three, right? No,
you can order whatever you want, but I'll just send it to you.
No. Stop sending. I need to order 3 barbecues, 3 barbecue powder.
You can get them in 2 packs.
I'll take 2 packs of barbecue powder because I'm down to I got to an 8, not even a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah.
It's just on the bottom, so I could do maybe.
No, I know it's not enough.
Steak. And I went, let me grab another one. I went into the pantry last night and broke out into a cold sweat.
This is what I have here is leftover steak with barbecue.
Oh, you're going to be eating that?
Yeah.
Anna, I broke out into a cold sweat. I can find the taco. I can find the dill. I'm out. And then on the top shelf, I see one of those animal cheese. Oh, there it is. No, it's soft.
Empty.
No, it's soft. It's the big thing.
The barbecue doesn't come in 16 ounces. Maybe it should.
I glanced up and saw the packaging. It's a dark pantry. I said, oh, there it is.
Right.
Pull it down. It's the gravy. And I went, okay, I got all the gravy in the world. I need, because I'm addicted to this stuff. I've been eating a steak every night because when Serena's gone, I just make myself a steak every night. When she does the cooking, we get a steak and then we get chicken, then we get fish, and then we get steak and chicken and fish. She kind of rotates.
Right.
I'm home. I have time to make a steak. So she's not here and I'm trying to figure out Christmas, and it's just not. And when I thought about when I was working out, I'm like, man, it's just another day, because I got to take care of everything.
Right.
I didn't realize how much I have to take care of. And this is the second time. Serena had to go home for almost a month in the summertime to help out another family member.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that again right now. And it's not fun. It's just not fun this time.
No.
And there you have it. So I'm doing what I can to eat. Sounds weird again. It's not that bad.
Doing what I can to get nourishment in my body.
But I just can't go out and eat at a restaurant. Restaurants have gotten so expensive because of everything, and I get it. we had to raise everything at all of my companies by a small percentage.
Yeah.
And I think did you do the same thing? Or are you going to do the same thing?
After the first year, we raised the sauces by $1. And then I told everybody so that they could all buy it before the price went up.
Yeah, well, we did the same thing.
You know what I mean? And then no, we haven't yet, but we are having tremendous issues with being able to produce it at a low enough cost.
Yeah, look.
And still keep the I mean, we're doing it, but like, you guys, if you could know what I know and see what I see inside how sauces are made and talking to all these manufacturers.
Not good, right?
It's not good. But we haven't raised the price yet, but yes, eventually we will. But then again, so we're trying to sell into grocery, right? And some of the grocery stores have put this on. It's $13.50 a jar on the website, which feels insane. But now grocery stores are selling it for like $15 to $17 a jar.
Yeah. And
it's crazy.
I bought some cheese the other day, the good Parmigiana. Yeah. And I get to check out. When you're self-checking out, it's at the price. Like there's a little voice.
$4.99.
Exactly.
Please scan your club card.
Yeah. Please check to make sure you scan. All this kind of stuff. And
do not steal from us.
Yeah.
That's hella expensive.
I rubbed the thing across for the Parmigiana, the fresh, the good stuff. And it's at 19 something. I'm like, oh, for a brick of cheese. I thought about putting it back. It's like, and I said, but wait, this is what I eat. I eat that's my treat. That Parmigiana with some Kalamatas, which by the way, I'm going to have to take on a 5th job just to keep Kalamatas coming in. I mean, but this is what I eat, folks. People go, what do you eat for a snack and the whole thing? When I'm watching football on Sunday, I'll do the Kalamata with the cheese and that's what I like to have, right? So, what am I supposed to not do that? I get it. It's gotten expensive, so I don't eat as much of it. I don't do it as often, but man, you start looking at putting stuff back because a piece of cheese, $19, but it was a big chunk. It was almost a.
I was gonna say that seems high. However, I also, I live in an area where the groceries are pretty pricey. I wanted to show you this because, eating at the holidays, I think appetizers are my favorite things to eat. I just really like appetizers and steaks. And so I did a new one. You'll like this one. You can put any cheese in there that you want. But it's a brick of feta. And then you put the Kalamata, you put the tomato, the onion, and the red bell pepper and salt and pepper and Villa Cappelli in the oven. And you just roast it. And it's so good. Vinny, you got to look at this.
I'm looking at it. What do you think I'm looking at?
Vinny.
I might have a food erection right now.
You're looking at your phone. You're not looking at this.
I'm looking at the piece of cheese with some goop around it. What am I not looking at?
It's a piece of cheese with some goop around it. That's what you like to eat. You just said the way you like to eat, and it said, here it is.
No, that's what I like to eat.
I know. I want to eat it right now.
By the way, I just put up a what do you call it? Instagram. Well, I didn't put it up. Megan put it up. And you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Here, let me plug it in.
Yeah, and then I want you to repost one of mine I just posted.
Because sometimes people think when I put these up, they go, oh, a guy said the other day to one of my posts, he goes, okay, that sounds good, but you just made that up. I cannot make this stuff up, folks.
Okay.
I'm just not this good. And as a matter of fact, the guy, I didn't say his name. I was talking to a husband and wife yesterday. I'll tell you their names. Hang on, Anna. Let me look.
We want full names. We want social security numbers.
All right, Pam and Andrew. As a matter of fact,
Pam and Andrew Anderson. Pam and Andrew Anderson.
Wait, that's actually their last name. I'm kidding. But look, I've done consults with them before. They were in LA when I was in LA because their kid lived in LA. I've actually met these people. And this is pretty close because I've heard other people tell me this. Now, this isn't all right. Let me just play it. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Tells me yesterday his doctor put him on a really strong statin to lower his triglycerides. I thought this was crazy, so I looked it up. It turns out that some statins can lower your triglycerides a little bit by cutting down on inflammation. The same thing you could do by cutting out sugars, grains, and seed oils. It's crazy to take a heavy drug for that. Think of it this way. If you have the common cold and you went to your doctor and your doctor says, I can cure that, take these birth control pills, you would think that was crazy, right? Yeah, me too. Stay motivated.
Stay motivated.
Yeah, look,
I'm stealing that. I'm going to start saying at the end of all my videos.
That's my thing.
No, I'm going to steal it.
That is my thing.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Then you need to trademark it.
Well, okay, maybe I will.
So here's the thing. We're still doing that thing where the doctors want to do the statin.
Right.
And it's not uncommon for people's cholesterol levels to go up in the interim when they start NSNG, because I get the frantic texts all the time from people, and then I refer them over to White Kim. I was like, talk to White Kim. She knows, she'll help you out. She knows who to talk to. And I'm talking about Susie DeMeester.
Mm-hmm.
So people will write, oh my God, my thing is it's 1.7 or whatever. I don't even know. I can't. So I'm freaking out. What do I do? And we say cholesterol code. Who else do we say? We say diet doctor, Bret Scher. Like there's all these resources.
Eric Westman,
Dr.
Philip Ovadia, Dr. Tro Kalajian, Dr.
Tro is great. And a lot of people.
Amir Ali.
Yeah. So
all these,
but the doctor's always so convinced you got to do the statin. Like they jump right to statin. And it's also too, like, you're not going to instantly die right that second. Like you can go find some answers and get second opinions.
All right, hang on. Let me go back.
Unless you are, I don't know.
No one will die from high cholesterol because there is no such thing as high cholesterol. That's we've created a category, high cholesterol. They somehow they convince the public.
But the cholesterol numbers are high. So there is high cholesterol, but they've said that it's bad to have high cholesterol.
Right. They said it's bad. Once you look, when this whole thing, you see, people forget. We have amnesia. I don't forget. When they first started talking about high cholesterol, they were saying, oh, anything over 220, over 230, that kind of thing. And then, they gave people statins to get below that. And then they said, okay, anything over 210. And then they said anything over 200. Now I think they're down to 170 or 180 or even lower than that, 160. They're trying to lower the one fatty acid that you need in your body that every single cell in your body needs. Now, why, there was one study that was not conclusive in the early 1970s that showed plus or minus 0 that cholesterol could be implicated in heart disease. That one study has been debunked 3,000 ways to Sunday, but it doesn't stop doctors from saying, oh, you have high cholesterol. And by the way, once they figured out that statins only really lower just your LDLs to a certain degree, then they started calling LDL the bad cholesterol. They've done everything to get people onto statins. Now they're putting people on statins if you have high triglycerides. High triglycerides can come down in a couple of days if you cut out all sugars and grains. Listen to what I just said. If you cut out all carbohydrates for a few days and you have triglycerides, I talk to people that start off with triglycerides 1,300.
Whoa.
I'm not making that up.
What?
Not 300, 400, 500, 1,300. These 600 and 700 pound, 500 and 600 pound people, go ask anyone, go ask Scott King, go ask any of these people. They'll say, oh yeah, my cholesterol, my triglycerides were 1,100 on any given day. And as soon as they cut out all sugars and all grains and got off of all the crap, the triglycerides went down into a very safe area. And most of those guys are walking around under 100 now on no medication, right? Yet doctors are not putting people on your average statin. When I looked this up yesterday, I was like, wait, because statins actually, because when you take a statin, it will diminish some of your body's inflammation. And when you do that, your triglycerides will drop along with that. So artificially, you're dropping them. You know what can actually drop them for real? Cut out all the crap that's causing it. Seed oils, sugars, grains. Cut it out, problem goes away. Goes away almost overnight. So fast that when people call me to do the consults, they get angry at me, or at least it feels that way. They go, why didn't my doctor know this? Why did I listen to it? My friend
because
told me
it's
to listen to a stupid podcast, and I listened
right.
to it, and I heard you talking to fill in the blank doctor, Eric Westman, Jason Fung. I just happened, the first one I listened to happened to be Jason Fung, changed my life. The first one I happened to listen to was Dr. Ben Bickman, changed my life. They never say Anna Vocino. I'm sorry, Anna. But
I'm not a doctor. I don't change anybody's life.
That Friday show gets more people excited about, oh my God, why didn't my doctor know this? And my answer is always the same. Not every doctor finishes at the top of the class.
Well, here's the thing. Let me give a different brushstroke to why doesn't my doctor know this? You know how like you do your job, like Vinnie, you trained people for years and people would give you the same excuses and cancel and do the things. And you just kind of like, you love them, but you roll your eyes at them and you're like, all right, we'll try to get you in shape, but you keep canceling and you keep doing all this stuff. And then finally some clients you had to give up on.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't pay you, or it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? Because they wouldn't do what you said.
Right.
So I was talking with a doctor friend of mine who I love. He's a great doctor, fantastic doctor, one of the smartest doctors that I know. He's in LA. And we get into this vibrant discussion quite often because he's an older guy. He's from the old guard, but he's actually pretty with it with all the new stuff that we talk about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he tells his clients that, but he's like, the problem is we have an issue as doctors with compliance. And you see so long of people saying, sure, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. And then they don't do it. And so then they feel like they have to do the gastric bypass or take the Ozempic or do the thing. So he's coming at it. And he's like, in defense of doctors, because I was getting on him about it.
Right.
In defense of doctors, we see a wide array of people. So you see people who come to your work who really want to find the answer. And I was like, you're correct. That's not a bad thing to keep in mind.
Oh, look, it sounds like I'm down on doctors, but
no. And it's not that. I just want to like show this is why. And by the way, not all doctors are like the doctor I'm describing or the doctors that you're describing. Most of them, until there's a big paradigm shift and we hit this critical mass, which we seem to a little more every day. But like, until we hit this with people saying, hey, you know what? You got to cut out the processed carbs. Until they get there, until they acknowledge that seed oils are inflammatory, they're going to, you know what I mean? Until they acknowledge that they've been sold a false bill of goods on their end. And we've all been taught to grow up to think that doctors are gods. They know all about the body. So how could they be lying to me? Or how could they not know the truth themselves? They're God.
No, they want to figure, look, let me give a different story and people can understand how people can miss a problem. Now, the old guard, the old people that listen to the show, they know this story backwards and forwards, but we have all the PragerU people and all the Robies and everyone else. They've never heard the story. So I drove across country to California to work on Beyond Impossible. I had to shoot my part, and it's cheaper for me to go to a camera than getting a camera crew to come to me.
Right. So
I drove across country, and at the time I had a fairly new, about 2-year-old, Ford F-150. Everyone knows the Ford F-150 is the #1 sold car in the United States, or I think maybe even in the world. I'm not sure how it ranks, but Ford F-150, well-known truck, vehicle, light truck. And the truck had been acting up and it wouldn't start. Like when I got to a stop and tried to start it, it wouldn't start. You would have to keep hitting it. It's not that it would go, it just, nothing would happen. If I tried 12 or 15 times, then maybe it would just, whatever the electronic or the computer thing would happen, it would cause the truck to crank up immediately. So, I got it to a dealership when I got to California. I figured I'd be there for a few days shooting my part. I said, look, I'm on the road. Please look into this. It's a problem. I can't figure out what's wrong. And they said, well, it's starting right now. I said, yeah, but if you let it cool off for a minute and try, it won't start. And so they said, can you leave it? I said, yeah, you guys take it and the whole thing. So I left it there. And they were trying to get it to happen on their diagnostic machine. So they have all these computers that they hook your car up to because cars are controlled by computers. And they even got it to happen with all the computers, stuff hooked to it. And then I came back and I said, did you guys figure it out 3 days later? And it's like, yeah, we got it to happen. Your truck has a problem, but the diagnostic equipment is not picking it up. And well, so what are we going to do? And they said, well, we don't know what to tell you. I said, well, I'm on the road, pal. And they were like, okay, but well, I'm sorry, can't help you. So I'm now driving back, and I'm going back through Austin. I'm on I-10, and I'm going through Austin. I'm going from Austin. I'm going back to, Donaldsonville, and then I'm going to come back here. And the truck started acting up. When I stopped to get gas, I stopped the truck because, and it just wouldn't start. And literally it wouldn't start anymore to where I had called AAA to come tow me. I'm at a gas station. It's like, I need a tow to a shop. I'm out in the middle of the desert. While I'm waiting for that to happen, I got it to start, and I canceled AAA, and I kept driving. Now my thing is, okay, this car will get me to my destination as long as I don't stop it. And my destination is well over 24 hours away. Luckily, I was giving Peter Pardini a ride back. Peter wasn't working on my movie, but he was like, yeah, I'll take a ride. He needed to get to Austin. That's why I was going through Austin. I was giving him a ride back, and we couldn't stop this truck. So if I got too tired, Peter would have to take over and drive.
Wait, what do you do about gas?
We could stop and get gas, but we couldn't kill the engine. We had to
I thought you were supposed to turn off the engine when you filled the car.
You're supposed to, but we were living.
But it was okay. You survived, obviously.
We survived that, right? So we got to fill it up.
That is crazy.
And I'm calling dealerships along the way, and they're like, yeah, we don't know what to tell you. And so we started doing video tweets, talking about, hey, blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, the story.
Oh yeah. Ford
calls me. I'm in the middle of the desert, and my I see Dearborn, Michigan coming up on my phone.
Better answer it. They got your number.
It's Ford headquarters. They figured out how to get to me.
Right.
All right. They saw these tweets. The tweets were going viral. They get to me and they said, look, we will do anything to fix this truck. Please just stop tweeting. And so you wouldn't do this for a normal person, but a person with an audience. And they said, yeah, fine. Whatever you want to say, please we will take care of you. And so that, I finally got my car all the way to Louisiana, to Donaldsonville. That's where my FJ Cruiser was stored. I said, okay, what I'm going to do is leave this truck here, drive my FJ Cruiser back to Virginia, and it's staying here. That truck stayed there for a month. Ford tried everything.
At the dealership?
At the dealership. Now, here's the deal. It's there for a month during the pandemic. And they're telling me we can't figure it out. We've tried every diagnostics, and we had a guy come in from Alabama to go to Louisiana just to look at this truck. We're interested in what's wrong with this truck, right? They're doing everything to keep me quiet and to make me happy and to do it. And they go, how can we make you happy? And I said, well, you could buy the truck back for what I bought it for. Just buy my truck back and we're good. I don't want this piece of crap. You guys can't figure out what's wrong with it. I don't want it. What, are you going to give it back to me? If you guys, you got your best guys coming in from Alabama and I can't figure it out, what am I supposed to do? Now, folks, I'm telling you this story for a reason. This is one of the biggest corporations in the world. They have every diagnostic test in the world. They can figure out everything. Meantime, my younger brother, who works in the car auction business, he's telling me, listen, get that truck back. If we could get it started, if it starts one time when it's going onto the auction block, if it starts that day, we can sell that truck. Because Ford's not claiming there's a problem. They can't find the problem. We can just sell that truck. We're getting more for these vehicles than blah, 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 more than you paid for it. So I send my older brother, who has a tow truck service. Now, my older brother has been a mechanic his entire life. right? A big time mechanic. But he's like me. He's kind of old school. He's like Gran Torino Sr. He's my older brother. He goes and picks up the truck. He brings it back to his shop. He throws it up on the lift. The starter is underneath the truck on this truck. And he looks at the starter, and the wires on the starter are corroded. Right? So, because for the condensation from the air conditioning was dropping onto the starter.
No, I understand that, but why didn't they look at the car parts?
Exactly. So here's the deal. When the car was warm, the corrosion, somehow those lines heated up and they connected. When it would get cold at night, especially in the colder months, which is what it was, it would separate enough to where it wouldn't make contact and the truck wouldn't start until, luckily, if you just got enough spark between the two, it would crank up.
Right.
An old school mechanic.
Seems like engine 101 to me. I don't know.
So you see, you get what I'm getting. The new style, just like with the new medicine, they're looking at all these shiny things over here, and they're not looking at the patient
and bypassing the physicality.
They're not looking at the person as a whole. They're looking at pieces and parts and saying, by committee, we've decided that these are problems and these are not. Ford had for a month, did every diagnostic test. An old school mechanic looked under the truck and said, oh, there's your problem right there. So I was able to fix that truck in good faith. And Ford called me and said, I said, look, I'm putting it on the auction. And they go, what did it cost? I said, you have to pay for my brother's towing to and from the dealership that couldn't fix it. And you have to pay for him fixing the truck. And they go, what does that bill look like? I said, I don't know. It took him 5 minutes. He put a new wire on it. And you have to pay for the wire. So he sent them a bill. It was like $50 or something, plus the towing, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And I sold the truck now in good faith because it now ran correctly.
Yeah, you don't want to sell something in bad faith.
I even considered keeping it at that point, but I was like, you know what? I'm done.
No, it's snake bit. You don't want to.
But the bottom line is, and by the way, I got more for the truck than I bought it for, because it was during that time when, the chips and everything, nobody could get the car chips and everybody was paying overpriced for stuff. So I made out like a bandit. But you
were basically selling a chip with a car surrounding it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And look, the bottom line, Anna, that's pretty good. I like that. You see, that's why I keep you hanging around. That's why I need you.
Thanks so much.
But you understand what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Everybody in medicine is looking at all of these metrics and not looking at the person as a whole.
Right.
Right. When Dr. Michael Greger says eating 1 egg a week is going to cause diabetes, well, we know that's a lie. Right. Yeah.
I loved your post about that, by the way. You guys got to go and follow Vinnie on Instagram.
Everybody knows that's a lie. Right. We know that. But these vegans will go, oh, this will happen and that'll happen. And all of a sudden, these doctors will look at any weird metric they want to look at. And all I say is, look at Sean Baker and look at Michael Greger. They're both doctors. Which one would you like to look like? Well, I wouldn't want to look like either one of those apes. But the bottom line is, I would rather have Sean Baker's body, a 60-year-old that's got a lot of muscle on him. Sarcopenia doesn't look like it's ever visited his house, versus Michael Greger, who I think just turned 50 and looks like he's 80.
What?
Michael Greger just turned, all those pictures we see of him are in his early and mid 40s.
He and I are the same age?
Yeah, pretty much. And he looks like his teeth are falling out of him.
I'm in that phase of my life where I see people and I'm like, they're definitely older than me, and I find out they're definitely younger than me. So I'm definitely in this place where I get confused, but I would have sworn that Michael Greger was older than I am.
You would think he was older than me, and I look old. Right?
Vinnie Strathairn.
Yeah, me and that guy.
Yeah,
actor.
I always say David Strathairn is Vinnie's. He's going to play you in the movie. He's got to learn your crazy accent, though.
Who's the other one that looks like? There's 2 or 3 of them that look. We all look about the same, but none of us look alike.
Yeah.
The Scott Bakula. Everyone thinks I look.
Oh, Bakula. I can see that. Yeah.
And the guy that just got fired as the coach, Reich, over at the Colts.
Oh, I don't know what he looks like.
Coach Reich. He just got fired, mid-season.
Oh, bye.
Yeah, whenever I grow my beard, whenever I grow my beard, everyone goes, "You and Frank Reich look like you were separated at birth." And with the beards, we do look like we were separated.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I need to do a diptych with you and Vinnie Strathairn. David Strathairn. See, I even call it. I call you Vinnie Strathairn, and I call him Vinnie Strathairn.
And you call him David Tortorich.
David Tortorich.
Yeah.
Hey, look what I have.
Okay, so last year I tried to make that, and I didn't exactly make it. I made custard, which I enjoyed as a post-workout.
Yeah.
A little something, something for the next, God only knows. I used it for like a week.
It's a great post-workout, pre-workout, breakfast, post-dinner snack.
Now, folks, we're talking about a treat here. This is meant as a treat. And the reason
it doesn't have any sugar in it.
Right. That's why but listen, I was listening to the Adam Carolla show this morning while I was working out. Yeah. And Dan Dunn, the liquor guy, he's got a show called The Imbiber. So if you're an alcoholic or you want to be an alcoholic, go listen to The Imbiber. Dan Dunn's a good friend of mine. He's got a great podcast. He's been on my show, and I think I've been on his show. At any rate, he was on there talking about different, 3 different eggnogs.
Yeah.
And, the main ingredient in all of them are sugar, just a lot of sugar. And I went, I made Anna's eggnog last year, no sugar. Of course, I screwed it up. I turned it into custard. I cooked it too long. I overcooked it.
Right.
Really enjoyed it.
But no, I don't think you overcooked it. I think that you put extra egg yolks in it. Yeah. And that just turns it into a more pudding, like a thicker consistency.
It was delicious, but it wasn't drinkable. So Anna, let's go with the recipe.
Okay. So Tuesday night, December 13th, I did a cooking demonstration for my Substack premium subscribers that included the eggnog as well as the sausage cheddar balls, which are 2 of my favorite holiday treats that I've created without sugars and grains. Because if you go to any holiday party in the South, there's eggnog and there's sausage cheddar balls, but the sausage cheddar balls have the Bisquick, to hold it together. And the eggnog has tons of sugar and Lord knows what else. And people don't often make a homemade eggnog because it is a little bit labor intensive, because you got to make the custard and there's a certain way of making custard.
And you got to stir it a lot. You got to
stir it a lot. But I get asked every year by so many people, hey, how do you do an NSNG eggnog? And then I was finally like, okay, I'm going to do it. So last year I posted the recipe. It's at annavocino.substack.com. It's free for anybody who wants to see it. And there's always a printable version. So the idea behind eggnog is you start with cream. Technically, I make it into a half and half. I do a cup of whole milk and a cup of heavy cream, so it turns into 2 cups of half and half. People ask, why do you do it that way? It's because I don't buy half and half, but my husband drinks whole milk and I drink the heavy cream, so that's how I divide it out. So you basically want to heat up the heavy cream and you want to separate out 4 egg yolks from the whites. Save the whites for something else. I don't know. Whip it into something. I don't know what you do with egg whites. Whatever you want to do, people.
Yeah. Make yourself a meringue.
Make yourself a little meringue. So you take the 4 egg yolks and you beat them till they get like a little bit lighter yellow. And at this point in baking, when you whip egg yolks like that, when you whisk egg yolks, you would add in a sugar. We're not adding in a sugar. So you're just whisking the egg yolks till they turn a little bit lighter color than what the egg yolks were when you separated them. And we're going to take that heated up mixture of the whole milk and the heavy cream, and we're going to slowly drip it in and whisk it really fast. Because here's the thing. If you were just to dump the egg yolks into the hot milk and cream, you would scramble those egg yolks, and you don't want to do that. The key to making a custard and giving that smooth custardy texture is to combine, it's called tempering the eggs. So you just take little bits at a time of the warmed up milk mixture and whisk it into the eggs until the eggs get warmer. And then you basically then kind of slowly pour in the whole thing and whisk it. And I'm acting it out with my hands. I'm pouring in the thing and I'm whisking the thing. And then you can put that all back on the heat and add in the cinnamon and the nutmeg and whatever spice profile you want. I don't add in the vanilla at this point because I don't want the vanilla to get too heated, but you could do it if you wanted to. So then this is where the people get impatient, including myself. And if you watch that video on Substack, I got impatient. I cranked the heat up higher and it got it pretty thick. If you turn the heat up too high, again, you're going to scramble the eggs in your custard. So you want to keep the heat low and it's bubbling and you're stirring constantly for 9 to 10 minutes. Would you agree with that, Vinny? You have to really be on it.
You got to stand over it. You got to be on it.
Got to stand over it. So you know that it's ready when it starts to thicken up. You think for like 6-7 minutes, you're like, this isn't working. This isn't working. This isn't going to work. I should turn the heat up. Don't turn that heat up. Because that's what I did. And you start to scramble the eggs. Turn it back down.
Yeah. Go down.
And then at about 8 or 9 minutes, it starts to thicken up. In about 9 or 10 minutes, you're good. And here's how you know. You lift the wooden spoon out and pretend I'm holding the back. Here, I'm holding the back of a metal spoon because I'm going to eat this thing. Pretend this is a wooden spoon. I just lifted it out of the eggnog. If you swiped your finger across it, it would leave a line instead of it filling back in with the liquid. Right. That's how you know it's thick enough.
Okay.
And if you were making a pudding, you would cook it longer so that if you swept the wooden spoon along the bottom of it, it would take a lot longer for it to fill in. That's how you make a thick pudding. But the idea is the same. It's a custard. And once you know how to make this and have tried this, you can make a custard out of anything. So at this point, you strain it through a strainer to get out any little cooked egg bits because you want it to be nice and smooth. You don't want to drink an eggnog and get like a rah, rah in there. Yeah. If you're making pudding, you don't have to strain it.
Yeah.
And then you can add in your vanilla, your liquor, and then you put it in the fridge to set up, and it will set up. And this is a very good eggnog consistency. And then you can serve it with cinnamon. You can put a little dollop of extra heavy whipping cream on there if you wanted to whip some cream.
Nutmeg, you put the nutmeg on top.
Nutmeg, cinnamon. I put bullet rye in this one, but you can do rum, whiskey, bourbon, whatever is your choice. I don't like a sweet alcohol, and I did not put any sugar in this at all. If people are coming over who are not NSNG, make this as it is. Set aside whatever your portion is, and then if you want to add a little maple syrup or something like that to it, you can do that because
but there's no need to. I mean,
there's no need to. However,
yes,
you want to consider your guests.
Yeah. By the way, Dan Dunn and Company was talking about,
so good.
The original eggnogs had sherry in them, so people
that makes
brandy, sherry, just all kinds of different.
I have a whole bottle that was gifted to me of a sherry, a dry sherry called Amontillado, which reminds me of that cask of the Amontillado. Mm-hmm. What was that? Poe? Is that Edgar Allan Poe?
That could be Edgar Allan. I should know that. I live in his hometown pretty much.
This is so good. It's only noon where I'm recording
and
this, so I don't want to get
drunk.
But I did put alcohol in it.
Anna, let me ask you this. People are going to ask, how much alcohol per
it's in the recipe. I say 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup for the whole recipe. I put 1/3 cup to split the difference. And to me, it tastes alcoholic. You can certainly do it without any alcohol. Plenty of people who don't drink make this and it's delicious. You still feel very festive. But I'm telling you, do not buy the eggnog at the store.
Oh, that stuff is full of crap.
It is garbage. I wouldn't feed it to animals.
High fructose corn syrup. I mean, I read a label of one of those last year, and I remember getting inflamed just reading the label. It was not good. Look at you getting drunk over there and eating.
Now, the key is when you put it in the fridge, and this is not a very attractive thing, you have to put plastic wrap over, you have to press it onto the top so that a skin doesn't form. Mm-hmm. So that's how you keep it stored in the fridge.
I'd forgotten about that part. You told me to do that. Yeah. And still a skim. I still had a skim because the whole thing was.
The whole thing. So if you want to use more egg yolks and make it, here's the other thing that I want to try. I want to do this and take out the cinnamon and stuff and put in some of your double French. Like I'm going to let it be cold and put that in, make a mocha one.
Yeah.
And I also want to try maybe like cocoa powder and some orange zest. You know how you can mince the zest of the orange?
Sure.
In fact, you guys, if you ever want to flavor stuff with citrus, don't put the juice in. Do the zest. The zest is what actually gives the flavor, and it doesn't have the sugar bomb. That is delicious. You guys got to make that. That's very festive and fun. And also, if you make that and drink that, while everybody else is making and eating cookies, you're not going to feel like you're missing out on the Christmas flavors, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I might make some tonight. So when I'm watching my next really bad movie,
Yeah.
when I'm watching a very
charming Christmas Town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch it tonight.
Great.
I've seen every one of them. Road to Christmas. I mean, you name it. I've seen it, and they're all exactly the same. I want to write one so badly. Nancy Grace wrote one. And like I'm watching one, it's like Nancy Grace, and then she put herself in a cameo in it. It's like, oh wait, I can.
Oh, she has to.
I can write one, sell it to Hallmark, and tell them that you guys don't have to pay me, just put me in a cameo so I can be in one next year. Yeah, I can write one of those right now.
You can definitely. It's
I've written books. I've done documentaries. I mean, I'm right.
You can write a Christmas Hallmark movie.
You know, because they all start like, you know, girl, you know, working her way up in a big city, usually Chicago, maybe New York. And for whatever reason, she's got to go back to not just any town, but either her hometown or a place
or a very charming Christmas town.
Well, a place she used to go with her parents, but somehow there's always a death that happened like the year before, or the parents died when she was 12 or whatever. But she always has to go back to somewhere that's going to remind her of stuff she doesn't want to remember. And then and she doesn't want to be there, and she's cranky. And then she runs into the boyfriend who couldn't understand why she never wrote when she went off to college, and she never came back. And that is not good for a minute. And, you know, but there's a Christmas village, and there's always a tree lighting that goes on, and there's always a Christmas dance. Oh, and one of my favorite tropes, at some point they'll show a young kid and it'll be like, oh, what's little Timmy doing here? It's like, oh, his mom / dad is off fighting a war somewhere overseas and won't be able to come home for Christmas. And usually one of the Christmas miracles, because there's got to be a Christmas miracle, is that, you know, they try to show Timmy's trying to talk to his mom but the computer's blinking on and off, and there's a bad signal because she's in, you know, somewhere Middle East. And then there's a scene where, you know, the miracle is mom comes home for Christmas because someone did something to get mom home for Christmas. It's the same thing every time. And then someone falls in love right at the end. There's usually an antagonist, you know, someone who's stopping it from happening, but then it happens. Oh, they're great. And they're all done in exactly 1 hour and 27 minutes. I don't know how they pull that.
That is pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, well, we don't care. We'll cut the scene if it doesn't make, you know what I mean? We don't care if the movie doesn't make sense. We have to have it to 1 hour and 27 minutes.
Oh, there's always some kind of competition, like a snowman building competition or something. And, you know, the couple that usually hates each other, they end up, it's kind of like the sack race, you know, they end up having to do it together because of some weird reason, and they win.
They have to get inside of a Santa sack together.
Yeah, they got to end up in a sack somewhere. Yeah.
Do they talk about how he has a boner because he's in the sack with the girl?
No, they don't talk about it. They leave that part out.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other part is all of these things are done in Canada, so you don't recognize any of the actors, and they don't look like the actors here.
I look up the actors in these things all the time, and I'm like, who is that?
Yeah.
Because I think I'm going to see somebody from my soap opera or like somebody, and No,
the Canadian actors are kind of like the British actors. Like there's not a lot of boob jobs, which I love because I hate the boob job.
Yeah.
And they don't have all their teeth straightened and the whole thing. Like I love the fact that the actors in other countries aren't all
look like humans.
They look like humans, and you actually respect that and you love that. What's that all about? You see what I just did there? That's what they say. And by the way, the girl's supposed to be from Chicago, and at some point she'll go, "Come on, I'm all about it." And it's like, "Oh wait,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that about Christmas."
Yeah,
sorry.
Exactly. You know,
what?
So at some point,
why is she talking like that?
Out, and the other thing is, it's fake snow, and you know when you're cold, like
because they film these in June.
Yeah, you never see breath coming out, right? But they're all wrapped up, and you can see them almost sweating. You know, because they're all wrapped up.
Totally.
Fake snow around. Every now and then they'll go to a ski slope and say, oh, now it's really cold, because you could see that they're cold and you can see their breath. Right. As a matter of fact, remember, I was watching that show, Anna, with Ashton Kutcher and My favorite actor of all time, Mr.
Oh, Sam Elliott.
Oh, Sam Elliott. Beef.
You sound like
Mongolian
Stephen
beef.
Hawking's computer voice.
Mongolian beef. Beef stroganoff.
Oh yeah, yeah, I do like that.
Beef. You know. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
At any rate,
Mm.
they did a sitcom.
Barbecue dust beef.
Anna's barbecue dust beef.
So
they did a sitcom, right, that ran for a few years, and you could tell it's shot in the summertime, but they mechanically put the breath coming out of their mouth when it's supposed to be cold. You know, they do some CGI.
That's so weird.
Breath, and it looks weird, but I appreciate that they tried it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Hallmark needs to get on to some of that because, you know, come on, we need to see some breath coming out of these people's mouths. You know, it's supposed to be.
Come on, Hallmark.
Come on, Hallmark, up your game.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I'll be watching another one tonight with Anna's eggnog. I told you all that to tell you that. And I'm going to cut off let me say all this stuff, and I'm going to cut off the video, and then we're going to play a little song.
Okay, great.
Song here that we can end.
I love it.
Anna Vocino has all kinds of stuff. Go over to eathappykitchen.com. I will be ordering two packs of the barbecue dust as soon as this show is over with. I'm glad I asked because I thought I had to order the 3-pack and end up getting more of the stuff I have too much of. Right. So I'm going to just be getting the barbecue dust in just a minute. You guys should go check that out. Also, she's got all the gravy you need. She calls it sauce. Go check out all the gravy Anna has over at eathappykitchen.com. Also, you can check her out on Instagram and everywhere else she is. With me, you know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, please go to VinnieTortorich.com and click through the banner. Bookmark it. Use it every time. Rate and review this podcast. Please rate and review it because that's how other people find us. So go give us a nice 5-star. I didn't say 4. I didn't say 3. I said 5 stars.
Yeah.
And bada bing, bada boom. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps other people. If you've been helped by this podcast, I'm begging you to help someone else.
Yes.
So go and do that. Let me cut this off here.